get into Sauce. Sauce split hold recovery, and that's something we're going to go over in terms of his footwork at the line. He can get away with it in college. There are some times where he's going to have to fix up his feet a little bit in terms of just knee bend, having more knee bend post snap, having better stance post snap, or sorry, pre snap. Narrow feet, high hips lead to big steps, and you not being able to control yourself and be under yourself. We're going to talk about some jump splits. We're going to talk about some of the technical side that's going to need work. That's going to work, against whoever you're playing in college, but it's not going to work against, Stephon Diggs and some of the other studs that he's going to line up against, this year and throughout his NFL career. So I'm sure Tony Oden is going to work on that stuff with him, because Tony Oden's obviously a DB coach in the NFL, and I think he's done a pretty good job with the DBs the Jets have on their roster right now. But nonetheless, we will discuss over these 51 plays. Let's see. Marcus Coleman's actually text. Marcus Coleman might pop on for some point of this. I don't know if he's going to pop on like midway. I was going to do it with him, but unfortunately, with so many guys to do and my schedule being pretty tight, I can't really just wait for people. So I gotta just do it. So maybe he joins. Maybe if not, we'll get Marcus on for Garrett Wilson. I know he's going to do DJ Reed, but maybe Garrett Wilson instead of Sauce. So let's watch Sauce on the bottom, and then we'll discuss. Okay, so some of these plays we can run through really, really quickly. So the first thing I'm going to say off the jump right here is I don't like that he's playing a little bit in no man's land. A yard and a half off. I want to see him be a little bit tighter. With that being said, post snap, you see how he jump splits. Now the jump split's not as bad as some other jump splits because his chest is still over his knees, over his toes. Like, he's not in the worst position in the world right here. But with this wide of a base, it's going to be really hard for him to move laterally. And have his feet be, under him completely. So that's the one thing I'm going to say to watch. Okay. So now the receiver stems him inside a little bit. He throws the most near hand, rotating his hips is going to hit with that hand and then open up the gate inside to run with him vertically. If he were to take it inside, releasing and get vertical. So he gets the hand on, length is there. Receiver stemmed him inside to get back outside. Sauce kind of uses that almost as like a slingshot to get back outside to get his hips again. Now that we're going inside, back to outside with that hand. Flips. Now, NFL, got to be careful with this, with that little, what I'm assuming is a little bit of a jersey tug right there, because refs in the NFL will call that stuff sometimes. Again, some reps they won't, some reps they will. But gets his hands on, slingshots himself back outside, replaces that hand as his hips rotate to maintain that contact point, obviously to be able to feel where the route is going for the receiver, and also while impeding the receiver. Hands on, match as he's running up the sideline, looking back to see if the ball is coming at any point. Nope, doesn't. Not the best rep in terms of the start, but the finish was really, really good for him to get back onto that receiver. Sauce patient. Let's see here. Oop, top of the screen. Looking at Sauce, we'll watch first and we'll discuss a little bit. Again, and you're seeing him match breaks very well, especially for his size, considering he's 6'3", 190, which I think he's going to get up to 195, 200 in his NFL career. I think he will gain some muscle onto that frame, which you'd hope he would, because some of these tackles that he's making again at the college level are not going to be made against, Derrick Henry or some of these other guys he's going to face at the NFL level. So one thing here, again, really patient to line. The one thing you're always going to notice about Sauce, or for the most part notice about Sauce, his eyes are always really, really low, and you can tell that, and that's a good thing. Again, the head, the shoulders will lie a lot. The hips do not lie. So get your eyes on the hips. So with that being said, now he's watching the hips. I don't love that his hands drop like that. You always want your hands, just like an offensive lineman, to be on guard, more chest area, so you can throw a punch quickly if you need to. When they drop, obviously it's the more of a wind up to get to a guy, which then gives that guy more time to react and more and it's also a weaker punch in terms of a direct angle versus coming with like that uppercut. It's just not going to affect the receiver in the same way. But very patient receiver. basically gets even, almost like split release. It's really not the best release in the world. Sauce stays patient, matches it, near hand on, stay on the outside of him, forcing him inside. And now that he has that hand on, that inside hand on, what is he able to do? He's able to feel him gearing down, feeling him getting ready to break, shortening his stride, whatever it may be. Feels it, matches it, is right on top of that. There's no bull that's getting there. He's zip locked him the entire time. Should that be a new thing? I even think about that. Ziploc, airtight. Let me start throwing it out there a little bit. All right, bottom of the screen. Let's see what this says. Length, replace, squeeze. Okay, so based on the title, this receiver is going to go outside. He's going to squeeze into the sideline in some sort of fashion. Again, look where the receiver starts. Almost more towards the top to the middle of the numbers, and he ends up literally out of bounds. So that's obviously the definition of squeezing. Now for Sauce, what are we going to say? Okay, little bit in no man's land. I want to see a little bit tighter. I'm going to be super nitpicky. That's why you guys watch. I know that if Marcus was on here as well, he does not love no man's land. I think at a yard and a half, it's not necessarily the definition of like 2 to 3 yards typically when you're talking about no man's land, but it's still a riskier game than just getting on the line of scrimmage and allowing him to use that physicality. So that's the first point. Second point, what? Hands drop, feet drop. Again, digs, guys like that in the NFL are going to take advantage of that because you're not balanced here. You're not balanced. Your hands aren't ready. They're not in the fight. You're leaning a little bit back onto your heels, which obviously then you're not going to be able to react to more lateral movement or however the receiver is trying to beat you. So got to fix that a little bit, but the length takes advantage of it, lands into the chest of the receiver with the right hand. Now, what does he do? He's off balance while he's reaching for that, and the receiver is going to wipe it, swipe it, whatever he's going to do. So he doesn't want to hold that out there and be leaning a lot onto that hand because why? Now, if that hand gets defeated, he's going to be off balance. So you want to get that hand on, and then as you're feeling him or as you're trying to turn and run, replace that so that's not one of your main balance points is in that hand. So hand on, replace into the shoulder. Again, good job. Rotate, replace. Rotate, replace, hand on. Again, he's not holding it on there and trying to reach for contact when this receiver is trying to wipe it away just to clear himself going vertically. What does Sauce do? Takes the hand off. Again, doesn't get attached to it. Takes it off, replaces it again. Little things like that make a big difference. Because if he was just to hold this on here and the guy somehow gets underneath of him, arm bars him, holds him up, he can stack him, if he had enough speed. But really good job by Sauce just to replace that arm, boom, get hand back on, and run him completely out of bounds. Really good rep. All right. I'm going to turn my brightness down. All right. Next play. Let me share it. Maybe eventually, honestly, if this was my full-time job, I would make like edits and do the 5 to 10 minute videos and then also do the really long ones. It's not my full-time job, but the edit stuff is cool. I give they're plenty of like Brett Coleman's out there doing that stuff where it's like 5 to 10 minutes of 5, 10, 15, 20 minute stuff of that's really well edited. I just don't have the same, you wouldn't get the same amount of players. Like this draft, you got, I think 18 players. You're going to get every single draft pick. You're going to get at least 2 or 3 UDFAs. You're going to get every single sign the Jets made. If I did the editing, I wouldn't have enough time to do all those players. And it wouldn't be as in depth. You really wouldn't have a feel for their weaknesses. But we're going to see Sauce on the top of the screen. Obviously, I spelled it wrong, but Sauce, careful with hips, be aware of space to sideline. Okay, yes, and this is one thing that I'm going to discuss a little bit later in terms of going over his strengths and weaknesses. There are times where I want to see him in a split like this, where this receiver is so tight to the sideline, play inside and force him to either cross your path inside with heavy inside leverage, or if he does come in outside, there's such a little space right here that unless he absolutely burns you outside, you're going to be able to squeeze him out of bounds. So again, I want to see him a little bit tighter here, a little bit of no man's land again with that 2 yards off. And you're going to see, and then the good thing about Sauce too is that he'll play, offhand jam, the near hand jam. He will bail. He will zone turn. He will press aggressively. He will soft shoe. And he changes it up from rep to rep, which again doesn't give receivers kind of a game plan to go and attack him. And okay, this is going to work because this is what he does. He changes it up pretty frequently. And here we're going to see him soft shoe a little bit more, where it's more of the feet, which feet are always first. Well, eyes, hands, feet, or eyes, feet, hands. But with that being said, he's not going to emphasize those hands right now because he is soft showing. So he wants to stay square to the receiver, which he does. Again, square, allowing him to play inside and out or inside and outside moves. The one thing I will say with this, though, I would like to see him be a little bit careful in terms of angling off right here, because he angles off as the receiver still a yard, 2 yards away. And if the receiver were to use like a squirt release 3 steps outside, go under, the way his hips return, if he was able to defeat the inside hand in terms of the receiver, he could get an inside release on him right here. So in terms of be aware of space to sideline, and this rep, it's more about just alignment. I like to see tighter and heavy inside and just force him to be outside. He's that split is really screwing him, you know? So that's the only thing I will say. But with that being said, patient. See, now he did, is it a squirt? Let me see. Kind of uses a hop step. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's exactly what I was saying. Literally, I didn't know that was going to happen because obviously I recorded this, however long ago. So gets inside. Now the thing I will say with this is I can't really see the top, but if this was timed well for the receiver, and he's able to defeat that hand on from Sauce, the right hand, that he can get inside, here with relative ease. But he's running like a stutter go. Or stutter slant. I don't know what the point of that is. I don't like that route at all in terms of outside release, stutter, get vertical, then go back inside. That's either a really terrible design of a route or terrible execution. Because right here, if he were to just explode inside, he might be able to beat Sauce. So he's this is not the best play. Careful with hips. And I thought that was in terms of him being patient, which initially he is, but turning so soon like that with that lack of room to the sideline for the receiver, a little bit of a risky game. So again, this is what you're going to get here. You're going to get positives and negatives. Every play is not going to be good for literally anybody. You're going to get it from Breece Hall. You're going to get it from Jermaine Johnson. You're going to get it from Garrett Wilson. This is not the hype piece place for you. So bottom of the screen, heavy inside, on the line of scrimmage again. So for me here, the first thing I'm going to notice just watching this play is a little bit more waist bend than I want. Waist bend versus knee bend. But okay, let's see what happens. Because the play is press check for ball. Okay. Again, receiver starts where, midpoint of the numbers, ends up completely towards the sideline. So again, you can see the eyes are low. They're on the hips. Hips don't lie. Now he uses that kick step inside. And again, that just maintains your balance. Kick steps like this are going to not negate. That's not the word I'm looking for. They're going to reduce the chance of you jump splitting. You're obviously that widened base. Typically, you're going to see guys on their heels with jump splits, but a lot of coaches in the NFL, some people call that a false step. Some coaches will teach that automatically inside outside kick step, just to eliminate that, because it's really hard. It's harder than it looks on film. We're doing this so slow to see a guy, be really patient, not move his feet, get shuffles in, but at the NFL level, even collegiate level, where these guys are moving really quickly, your body wants to react to that kick step eliminates your body wanting to jump split. So a little bit of a kick step inside, receiver hop step, gets outside immediately. Sauce recognizes that, gets that right hand on. And again, getting that right hand on, what does that do to the receiver? Now that just forces him a little bit outside, or a lot of it outside. The receiver probably wanted to win right here. Bottom of the numbers, stack them. But Sauce having that length and landing that hand and getting that extension bubbles that receiver all the way outside. Now Sauce is getting on top of him, stack, hands on. Again, feeling that route, feeling the receiver, feeling him gearing down, feeling him look back to the ball, whatever it may be. In that specific rep, eyes back at the ball coming. Nope, it's not. So good job there. Sauced hands. Okay, top of the screen. Let's see. Yeah, this is where you talk about like the boxer stuff and him replacing hands and stuff. That's a pretty rep. Okay, first thing, eyes are low, right? Eyes are low. Again,